What is it to be objective? Let's clarify
Objective is, to me, to go into a story.
Right.
For instance, we're at a debate. I'm going to cover the debate, I'm going to cover the campaign without any agenda. I don't have any desire who wins or loses.
So you focus on the facts, you analyze the facts impartially, and you report them as you see them.
Right.
That's objective. So whether you have an opinion or not on the subject is irrelevant, right?
It should be irrelevant, right?
But it could be relevant regarding what questions you decide to ask.
Could be, sure.
Right. And is there anything wrong with that?
Yeah, I don't think I'm doing my readers a service. My goal, for instance, in covering politics, is not to say who should win, but who could win.
So you think that when you ask questions, the viewers don't know where you're coming from?
Yeah, I don't believe anyone knows where I'm coming from.
You don't think that your position, when what you decide is important and what isn't important is not influenced by your views?
Yeah, I don't, if it is, by any view, it's probably by what's most newsworthy. You know, what I think readers are most interested in. Yeah, I think sometimes my news judgment is based on that. For instance, we know from not only from polling, but from interviewing people around the country that right now, by far the #1 topic on voters' minds is the economy. So I'm probably going to write more and ask more questions about economic plans, tax plans, jobs plans, than I would if we were in peace and prosperity and voters said they didn't care about it.
Do you think that the issue of whether the government should redistribute its citizens' wealth is an important issue in the campaign?
It is an issue in this campaign because I know a lot of Republicans. Right now I'm spending most of my time on the Republicans, and they talk about it a lot and talk to voters, and it's an issue to them, so sure, it's an issue.
Right. And have you asked them this question of whether they think the government should redistribute its citizens' wealth?
Oh gosh, I don't have to ask them. I hear it.
But did you ask them that question?
I don't have to ask. They volunteer it. They talk. It's the subject of speeches. I seldom have to go to a candidate after they've given a speech and said, I'm against this, and ask them, what's your position on it? They just told us. It's a hardy perennial in this campaign. It comes up frequently. It's come up in Washington, in Congress, the debate between the Congress and the White House. The positions of the two parties on this is pretty well known.
Right, but I haven't ever seen anybody actually ask them on camera what their position is. Have you? Have you asked them whether they think the government should redistribute its citizens' wealth?
No, I don't think I have, because I just explained
I didn't think so.
I know they're against. I've heard them say it. I got to tell you, we don't get a lot of questions with candidates. I've been doing this for a lot of years. This has changed a lot. Reporters used to go up to candidates a lot. Just 10 years ago, George W. Bush, every day of his campaign, took questions from the press corps. Most of these candidates now flee the building.
I see.
So if we get 1 or 2 questions, I'm seldom going to use the question to ask something which everyone knows the answer to. For instance, are Republicans against the government taking money from certain groups and giving it to others? I know that's a core principle of the Republican Party.
You think they're against it?
I know they're against it.
Okay, so why are they in favor of all the programs that do that?
Well, I'm sorry?
Why are they in favor of all the programs that do that? All the federal programs that redistribute wealth.
Well, I think there have been a lot of articles about this, about exceptions, about some of the candidates. For instance, I think there was a recent one about Governor Perry opposing this general idea of picking winners and losers and favoring a state program. I think it was an energy policy that favored certain companies in the energy sector in Texas. And we wrote about that. My company wrote about that.
So I would say that your views are implied in the questions that you decide to ask and what you take time to ask or inquire about, because it reflects your values. So your values are actually implied in what you decide to cover. And so I don't see what the problem is with talking about what your principles are and what your values are. You wouldn't be able to talk to us about your principles and your values?
I've been doing this for a lot of years as a reporter. And I come from a time when the reporter is not the story. And if my principles, my values, my views, my opinions are part of the story, then I'm not doing my job right. My job is to explain the views and principles and opinions of the candidates or the politicians I cover.
I understand that, and that's what you should be doing, and you're doing the right thing. But here we're just trying to inquire about you as an individual, a citizen, what you think is right, what you think is wrong, what your views are, and you seem reticent.
No, more than reticent, it's none of your business. It's
I
just
see. It's because you think it would harm you if you told us what you think on these questions?
I just think it's none of your business. What people come to me, you came to me because I'm a reporter. You didn't come to me because where I live
I thought that
or
we
what
were
my
gonna
family life is.
I thought I could interview you on foreign policy.
Well, sure. But I thought you were going to ask me about what was going to happen in the
What
debate.
other people thought.
Well,
No, I'm asking you what you think
Right.
as a citizen.
No offense, but I don't care what other reporters told you. I say my opinions are none of your business. You came to me because I'm a reporter. My job as a reporter is not to share my opinions. It's to share my reporting and my analysis.
So even if it's something non-political, we can't find out what you think?
Right. I'm not the story here.
Like, for example,
I don't choose to be the story. I'm not a columnist. I'm not an editorial writer. I'm a reporter.
Right, and so I can't even ask you questions about what you think is just and what you think is not.
Oh, you can ask. You can always. I'm a reporter. I love people asking questions. I think we all should have the right to ask.
But you make a living asking questions.
Right.
If everybody assumed your position of not answering, you'd be out of business, right?
Well, I'd be out of news. I'd be out of news.
Have you ever thought about that?
I don't cover reporters. I cover politicians who want to run the government.
Right, but
I think it's a different role in our society.
But it's an interesting question, right? I mean, if everybody applied this principle that you're using, which is not to share any of your views, we as citizens would not be able to find out what each other think.
Oh, sure.
And so it would shut down the whole dialogue.
Well, if the entire country, the government, were run by all journalists who subscribe to this set of journalistic principles that I do, yeah, that'd be a problem. But government's not run by journalists. Journalists are one part of our society and our political
I mean, if
culture.
everyone decided not to answer questions, then all the reporters would be out of business.
Right.
We depend on people being willing to openly share their views because we live in a democracy where we have free speech, and we respect people that have different views. We like to understand why they think what they think.
Right.
And see if maybe we're wrong, or examine their reasoning and compare reasoning.
Oh, I think it's great.
And that's what we do. But could you share any of your principles with us?
No, it's just.
Okay.
We can go over this.
Okay.
I encourage you to ask as many times as you like, because I think reporters should ask a lot of
You think
questions.
they should.
But I have the right not to answer, and I think the role of a journalist, as envisioned by the founding fathers of this government, is something a little different. It's not the role of every citizen. We are here to be a check on the government. That's my role in our society as envisioned in the founding of this country. I take it seriously. And I take the role of fairness as a model of being an impartial observer very seriously. So I don't share what guides me personally, because it doesn't show in my story.
Even on personal issues that are not political.
Well, I'm not a public figure in that regard. I mean, what personal issues? You want to know if I mow my grass twice a week?
No, I'm kind of interested in your approach.
Sometimes I'm a little late and it doesn't look that good.
Your approach to life, the principles and values that you hold dear in your life, that aren't politically debated, or issues in the campaign or anything, that sort of thing.
Well, I said, yeah, there are certain principles. I mean, I fly the flag on Veterans Day.
Okay. Steve, I don't want to press you anymore.
I go to church.
We'll do it some other day if you feel comfortable sharing your opinions with us.
They probably
we'll be available. We're interested in the principles that guide your life and what you think you should do and not. And you've explained one of your views, and we appreciate your time.
All right.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. Sorry, it wasn't what you expected, but
it's all right. I
don't do that.
It's okay. I thought we could do it on foreign policy, but on your views. But it's okay. We went over it many times.
Like in American politics today, and there's a lot of press and journalism for reporters to be opinionated, but I choose the old model, not the new model.
Okay, they're on TV all the time, commentating this, that, and the other all the time.
I'm not. I see different roles.
I'm sorry.
Good
Steve,
luck.
thank you very much.
All right.
And
Yeah.